This is my latest arrival. It's a very rare Transitional Speedmaster from approximately 1968. This was a model that was made with the earlier dial design of the caliber 321. We've got a very nice one here. So that's got the same dial outwardly. And then after that came along the 69 with the short indices and the painted logo, and but the caliber 861 is the same on this, and the dial is the same on this, and this one was produced in the late 60s for a very short time. And I've literally just bought it. It's a lovely example, and let's go through what I was looking at before I bought it to make sure that it was correct. So we will just go on to the close-up, and here we are. Now the Transitional has a unique set of characteristics, and it's very important to identify them and make sure that the dial is not compromised in any way, because you're never going to find another. Has long indices, applied metal logo, a step, T-Swiss made T, and the unique features of the dial are the long indices, the applied metal logo, combined with the caliber 861 feet, which of course you can't see without taking the watch apart. And the rest of it is very similar to the 145012 or the very early 145022s. But of course the golden rule is you can never trust anybody or anything until you've opened it up. So we will take the wonderful brass opener from Paul, and with the lining up the feet, and we will open it. There we go. Now this watch is bearing all the signs of ownership in terms of its cleanliness and things, but that's just the way it goes. So let's have a look under the magnification for the reference. If I catch the light just right, you can see the that 145022-68ST. Minor scratches on the backside, but they're very clear hippocampus. So now we will take out the dust cover. I always use a blade. There's plenty of fingerprints on this watch, but just because it's got fingerprints doesn't mean so I've got to add mine. And there's the movement, and what a fabulous, fabulous movement that is. Let's go in and magnify it. It's immediately identifiable as an 861 because there is 861 written deep in the movement, but also it has what I like to call the amoeba bridge here. And speaking of bridges, we'll look at them all. They just look a little off-coloured from, age, and the white parts are all very clean. The screw heads aren't bad, and I think this has had very little attention. It'll have had some, I'm sure, but very little attention. We see signs of dirt around there and a little bit of nibbling on the lip, and this is not unusual and to be quite expected, but ideally it wouldn't have been there, but it is. So let's put it back. I would take the serial number now down and write to Amiga to get the extract of the archives. And I'm pretty sure, having compared it with other transitionals in my records, that it is a good movement. So we put it back together, and the next step is to assess this watch for the quality. So we've assessed it for correctness, and it's passed, and now we're looking at the quality. Back into the magnified view, and first I check the body color of the dial for any blemishes and for its actual color. And the actual color of this is what you might call off black. It's got a slight brown tint to it. If we bring in the 69 close, we can just see there is a difference. There's a secondary tint in this watch which I find extremely attractive. So body color, excellent. The plots, well, first of all, the print is excellent, but the plots are missing slightly in some areas. And indeed, if you take a static photograph, sometimes you will see that this area here is darker. Now, it's quite common for the dials of this era to have problems like this. It's possible to find them without, and I will bring in one that doesn't have these problems, and that is this one, which is a absolutely beautiful transitional, and this one is excellent in every area. It's absolutely fantastic. It has a 27mm serial. This has a 26. So let's go back, and we then check for the bezel. This is a dot over 90 bezel, and the print on the bezel is clear and within the boundaries. The carrier ring is marked and clear signs of wear throughout its age. Very, very slight fade on the paint, and I'm often asked why, how do I know? And then again, we'll go back to the big view. This is part of my counterfeit bezel collection that I use to compare bezels, and it's every time I see a bezel offered for sale, counterfeit one, I buy it for that, just so that I've got them in hand. So the bezel's good, very good in this one. So we've got a very good dial, very good bezel. What's the case like? Well, if we look at the case, if I tip it up like that, you will see that it's almost smooth, but if you look at it, it's got evidence of brushing. We can see the brushing. It hasn't been polished. That is the brushing has faded through wear, not through polishing. And then we've got a 24 tooth crown with flat feet, so that's good. The back of the watch, we've been here, but the hippocampus is super clear. Actually, it's got some minor failed opening marks. Who cares? It's a honest single owner watch. I would say, if I was going to go through this on the chart, I would give it's very good all through. So very good dial, let down by the plots. It's a very good bezel, let down by the very slight fade in the bezel, and the nicks around the carrier ring, and there's one or two very tiny marks, but I mean, it just isn't excellent. That's all I'm saying. It's very good, but it's at the very high end of very good. Case, well, that's very good. It's not excellent because it shows plenty of signs of wear. Movement, very good, and it'll be excellent by the time it gets back from service. So there you have my latest acquisition. I like it very much. It's got a lot of character, and the next thing we do is take it off for service and extract. Possibly find a bracelet. You know, they come on this very nice 1039 bracelet. It's interesting. This one is absolutely perfect, and this one has the characteristics of being owned. And whilst I'm very fond of this one has more character. And to me, buying a vintage Speedmaster is all about finding a watch with character. So you need to find it with flaws that are accountable and livable with. What I don't like is a Speedmaster that's been sort of touted up for sale by people motivated purely by profit, because the watch doesn't look nice at the end of the day. Anyway, happy hunting for your Speedmasters.